My teacher mocked scholarship kids in class. Then he showed up at my drive-thru counting coins. My calculus teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, had this weird thing where he loved picking on kids like me who were on financial aid. The first week, he read a list of scholarship students out loud, then pointed to the back rows and said, "That's your section, the charity section." People laughed and my face got hot. After that, if you sat anywhere else, he'd stop class and tell you to move back where you belonged. Whenever I asked a question, he'd sigh like I was wasting his time. He'd grab my homework, hold it up, and announce my grade, but only for the aid kids. "Sarah got a C- again," he'd say, like it was funny. Then he'd add, "Maybe if you focus less on being poor and more on math, you'd get derivatives." I worked after school at McDonald's, so when he made mandatory tutoring for scholarship students, it hit me fast. He scheduled it right during my shift. I told him I couldn't always make it because I needed the money for food. He smiled and said, "Then you should prioritize education over minimum wage." If I missed tutoring, he'd mark me absent in front of everyone and ask, "How was the drive-thru?" The next day, my participation grade dropped, and he announced that too. After that, tutoring turned into a weekly humiliation show. He'd call me to the board with no warning and make me solve problems while he sat at his desk eating expensive takeout. My stomach would growl, and he'd say, "This is what real discipline looks like." Then he assigned a big group project worth 40% of our grade. He put every scholarship student in one group and gave us the hardest topic: build a financial model for a startup. Everyone else got easy stuff like basic graphs. He required a poster board, color printouts, and markers. About $50 total. We told him we couldn't afford it, and he shrugged. "Life's not fair when you're broke," he said. "Maybe this will teach you budgeting." On Friday, my group tried to meet after school, but 2 people had jobs and 1 had to watch a little brother. So we met in the library between classes, using the free computers and saving every page we printed. We asked if we could present on the screen instead of paying for posters, and he said no. "If you can't afford supplies," he said, "maybe you shouldn't be in advanced classes." That weekend, I worked drive-thru during dinner rush, tired and sweaty, hands smelling like fries. The line of cars wrapped around the building, and my headset kept buzzing. Near 8 p.m., a silver Honda pulled up, and I recognized it right away. Mr. Rodriguez was in the passenger seat. Usually, he acted like he was rich, but now he looked like he wanted to disappear. His wife was driving in worn scrubs, eyes red like she hadn't slept. In the cup holder was a pile of quarters and dimes, and he was counting them one by one with shaky fingers. I said, "That'll be $7.43 for 2 burgers and small fries." He poured the coins into his palm, and a few slipped and clinked onto the console. He didn't look at me. He kept counting, lips moving like he hoped it was enough. His wife asked, "Do you have extra sauce packets? We're trying to make this last for tomorrow, too." I saw a hospital bracelet on his wrist and pill bottles on the floor. In the back seat, a little girl about 7 was asleep on a stuffed animal missing an ear. I handed them the bag, and our eyes met for half a second. He looked away fast. All night, that coin sound stayed in my ears. On Sunday, I looked up help with hospital bills and free tutoring programs, printed it all, and packed it into a thick vanilla envelope. Then I bought a $100 McDonald's gift card with most of my tips. On Monday, I didn't sit in the back. I walked into class holding that envelope, and my hands were shaking, but I kept going. While he was lecturing, I stood up and said, "Mr. Rodriguez, I saw you at my job this weekend." The room went dead quiet. His marker froze against the board. I walked to his desk and set the envelope down. "There's a $100 McDonald's gift card in there," I said, "and info on help with medical bills, food programs, and free tutoring for your daughter." His face went pale, and he stared at the envelope like it was a trap. I turned to the class because I wanted everyone to hear it. "Some people don't skip tutoring because they're lazy," I said. "They skip because they're working, or taking care of family, or just trying to eat." I looked back at him. "You told us being poor means we don't plan ahead, but I watched you count quarters to feed your kid." Students started whispering, and the laughing stopped. Mr. Rodriguez's hands trembled, and he finally whispered, "How did you know?" I said, "Because I was working. The job you said was beneath me." He stared at me, then at the envelope, and he didn't have a comeback. He cleared his throat, put the marker down, and nodded once, slow and small. Now people are saying I embarrassed him in public. Was I wrong?